If your blood runs orange and blue, this is the pod for you. You're listening to Orange and Blue Bloods, hosted by EJ Stewart and Tommy Beer. Let's get to it, New York.
I want to end this show here talking about some important news for Knicks fans. So, Knicks fans fleeing cable subscriptions will now have a new option to watch the team. Madison Square Garden announced it is launching a streaming service that will stream live Knicks, Rangers, Islanders, and Buffalo Sabres games on this new streaming service. It is MSG Plus, which will come with a price tag of $29.99 per month or $399.99 annually. Fans will also have the option to buy individual games for $9.99 per game. MSG Plus will only be available in regions that carry MSG Network on cable TV. So important to note for those who may be not from New York. Traditional TV subscribers will also get access to MSG Plus free. So if you do have a cable subscription, then you'll have MSG Plus. So you'll be able to stream wherever you go. And all the extra features that come with MSG Plus will be added. What do you think of this new streaming service? I mean, I'll be honest. Like, I saw that price tag and I said, I thought that was a little much. I thought that, I understand that, Dolan's got to get the money. He's got to recoup the benefits, I guess. But I mean, $29.99 a month. Like, if you're only a fan of the Knicks or you're only a fan of the Rangers, like, I don't know how that's worth the price.
It's not. Dolan, interestingly, the MSG Sphere is a building that they're building in Vegas.
Yeah.
It is supposed to be finished last year. Classic. Supposed to be finished 6 months ago. Supposed to be finished 18 months ago, and now here we are. They're still trying to finish it. Sounds like it's been a money hole. Sounds like it's cost Dolan a lot more money than he thought, and obviously has no profits to show for it. That being said, we're not going to start a GoFundMe for James Dolan and the Dolan family anytime soon. They have plenty of money, so I think overcharging fans for the reality is, fans, if you're listening to this podcast on a Thursday afternoon with everything else going on in the world, you're a diehard fan. If you're reading about the Knicks, you're reading about the Rangers or the Islanders or whatever the case might be, if you're dedicating a certain segment, the owners of these teams and these regional sports networks understand that there's almost no price that is too high for a person that is a diehard fan of a team. So they're going to milk those fans for all they're worth, unfortunately, as they do with ticket prices and the cost of a beer and pretzel at a game, etc. That being said, I think this is the preview of the future. At some point, every game that you watch is good. You're going to have to buy it either a la carte or, not just NFL, but we're moving in that direction for NBA and MLB games as people continue to cut the cord. Then at this, because I have not cut the cord yet. I still have a Verizon Fios. I got the cable package, and the primary reason is because of MSG. So this is not going to impact me directly. And I think, I think folks went a little bit too far, assuming that they could charge these exorbitant prices and folks were going to cut the cord. But eventually at a certain price point, and no longer the reason to cut the cord was, even though you have a slightly fewer options, you have just what you want, and it's a lot cheaper. Now it's not as much, not as cheap, as much cheaper, if at all less expensive. So I think that's what these MSG and the Yes Networks, and we've talked about the regional sports networks. They're falling apart in hard times as well. It'll be very interesting to see how this all shakes out.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, the price tag, because again, we think about Knicks fans, and I'm sure you have people who can't afford this, but there are going to be some Knicks fans that they may spend it, but they might not actually be able to afford something like this on a yearly basis or a monthly basis. And when you think of I don't know, I feel like sports teams, certain things I just feel like should be, I don't want to say like a birthright, but just like, I don't know, like you should be able to watch your sports team in your local town. Like that shouldn't 100%. Be something that you get priced out of or have to pay for. Like maybe you can't go to the game, but you should be able to at least watch them on television. And the idea that, this is becoming something that is becoming for rich folks essentially is kind of getting a little ridiculous. So it's unfortunate that so many Knicks fans who had talked about, and all the teams, the Islanders fans, Rangers fans, etc., have talked about, hey, there really should be an option for us to watch these teams if we don't have cable. It's unfortunate that it seems like the Garden's kind of taking advantage of that. So to say, okay, yeah, that's a great idea. Here's a stick up. $300 for a year if you want to do this. It's like, come
Totally,
on, man.
and I agree with you, EJ, that that sports teams are essentially a public trust in a lot of respects.
Right.
And the other thing, another reason, we've just spent the first half an hour talking about the Knicks and Nets and the non-rivalry, because the reason was, even when the Nets had KD and Kyrie, there was just such a foundation of Knicks love in the city, in the state, among basketball fans in New York, that it wasn't going to get replaced in 4 years, 10 years, a couple championships that were purchased by mercenaries. It could, because of that foundation. Now, that's why I think charging exorbitant prices, while you may get a short-term profit, it's penny wise, pound foolish. Because if now you have fans that can't afford to watch Knicks, you're going to see the anticipation, the interaction, and the fan base start to deteriorate a little bit. When you price folks out of the building, that's one thing. But when you price folks out of being able to watch the game, period, that's when things really could start to turn, and you start to alienate, part of that key, that key dynamic of the fan base, that could really be detrimental long term, to where the Knicks are going forward.
And the NBA's got to be careful, because I want to shout out Bomani Jones. I thought he had a really good thing on Overtime Elite on his show on HBO. And it's essentially Overtime Elite banking, Overtime as a company banking on that they know how basketball is being consumed now by the younger generation. And what a lot of the NBA is learning right now is that teams that Gen Zers are not necessarily watching live games. Yeah. Like, they're consuming basketball through Instagram reels, through TikToks, through Twitter videos, through short clips. As you mentioned, it's why someone like Lonzo Ball has more followers on IG than Giannis Antetokounmpo. So this is kind of a dangerous game here. Like, you're banking, maybe for the short term, in the next 10, 15 years, you'll still get people who will pay this $300 a month to watch the Knicks. But there are going to be a new generation of fans who will be, of the ilk to kind of run their family household and kind of run how they consume sports. And if that future means not watching full games, I don't know how many people are paying for this. The NBA is already dealing with an issue with younger fans not consuming live games completely. I think that it's a risk to think that as you move forward, this is something that's going to be a viable business model 15, 20 years from now. I think that I don't think it will be, quite frankly.
100%. And I'm sure that there were people in executive C-suites at NBA league offices that convinced Adam Silver, look at how many more followers we have on Twitter, on Facebook, on TikTok than all the other leagues combined. And this will guarantee that we've consolidated the younger generation, and our ratings are going to skyrocket when the opposite has happened, or they plateaued at best, because that younger generation, partly because of because they've embraced the league on social media, they've avoided watching full games. They just, whether it's decreased attention span or the million other things that are all factored into this, you're 100% right. They consume the sport and games and the league different than teams in the past.
Yeah, MSG Plus set to launch in the summer. Interesting time to launch, considering none of these teams play in the summer. But that is when maybe it'll give them time to kind of work out any kinks that they have before the hockey and NBA season starts. But it does come with a $29.99 per month price tag, $399.99 annually. So if you're interested in that it will be an option to watch games. You'd also buy individual games, $9.99 per month for you Knicks fans. But